When fame meets infamy, the world can't look away. From shocking accusations to jaw-dropping revelations, some of the biggest names in Hollywood and beyond have been at the center of controversies that left fans stunned. In today's video, we dive into the stories of celebrities accused of horrible crimes that rocked the world.
Tyson's career was not without its challenges and controversies. In 1992, he was convicted of raping a beauty pageant contestant, Desiree Washington, and sentenced to 6 years in prison. Tyson maintained his innocence, but the incident had a profound impact on his life and career. Upon his release from prison in 1995, Tyson returned to boxing, but his career was never the same. He faced financial difficulties, personal struggles, and a decline in his boxing performance. Despite his challenges, Tyson continued to box, competing in several high-profile fights, including a 2002 bout against Lennox Lewis. He retired from boxing in 2005, with a record of 50 wins, 6 losses, and 2 no contests. Jeffrey Epstein, a financier and convicted sex offender, was arrested on July 6, 2019, on federal charges for sex trafficking minors in Florida and New York. This arrest came after a lengthy investigation into allegations of sex trafficking and abuse of underage girls. Epstein's troubles began in 2005 when police in Palm Beach, Florida, started investigating him after a parent reported that he had sexually abused her 14-year-old daughter. The investigation led to the identification of 36 girls, some as young as 14, who claimed to have been sexually abused by Epstein. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty to procuring a child for prostitution and soliciting a prostitute. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison but served only 13 months, with extensive work release. The 2019 arrest was the result of a new investigation led by the FBI and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. The indictment alleged that Epstein had sexually exploited dozens of underage girls at his homes in Manhattan, Palm Beach, and other locations. Epstein's arrest and subsequent death in his jail cell on August 10, 2019, sparked widespread outrage and conspiracy theories. The circumstances surrounding his death are still disputed, with some claiming that he was murdered to prevent him from revealing the names of his powerful associates who were also involved in the sex trafficking ring. Oscar Pistorius, often referred to as the Blade Runner, was a South African sprinter who gained global recognition for his athletic achievements and groundbreaking role in the world of sports as a double amputee. Born on November 22, 1986, Pistorius had both of his legs amputated below the knee at 11 months old due to a congenital condition. Despite this, he began participating in sports at a young age, excelling in rugby, water polo, and tennis before focusing on athletics after a knee injury. Using J-shaped carbon fiber prostheses, Pistorius became one of the most celebrated Paralympic athletes in history. He won multiple gold medals across 3 Paralympic Games, Athens 2004, Beijing 2008, and London 2012, in events like the 100m, 200m, and 400m sprints. His success made him an icon and a symbol of determination and inclusion. Pistorius made history in 2012 when he became the first double amputee to compete in the Olympic Games, running in the 400m and the 4x400-meter relay for South Africa. His participation sparked debates about the fairness of his prosthetic limbs but was ultimately hailed as a landmark moment in the integration of disabled athletes into able-bodied competition. Despite his remarkable career, Pistorius's life took a tragic turn on February 14, 2013, when he shot and killed his girlfriend, Riva Steenkamp, in his Pretoria home. Pistorius claimed he mistook her for an intruder. The incident and subsequent trial overshadowed his athletic legacy, with Pistorius ultimately being found guilty of murder after a prolonged legal battle. His sentencing brought his career to an abrupt and controversial end. The indictment accuses Combs of kidnapping, arson, bribery, and assault in order to run a concealed sex trafficking ring. He allegedly forced his victims to engage in days-long sexual performances known as freak-offs, and managed and recorded these acts. Combs also allegedly threatened, drugged, or physically harmed his victims to get them to comply or keep them quiet. Combs' arrest came after a months-long investigation into the musical artist and producer. The investigation found that Combs had allegedly run the sex trafficking ring for over a decade and across several states. Following his arrest, several women, including his ex-girlfriend Cassandra "Cassie" Ventura, filed lawsuits against Combs under New York's Adult Survivors Act, accusing him of sexual assault, battery, sex trafficking, and forcing them into sexual acts. Combs faces up to 30 years in prison if convicted of the charges against him. Currently, the case is ongoing, and the trial is still in progress. Knight was driving his pickup truck in the parking lot of Tam's Burgers when he struck and killed Terry Carter, a 55-year-old businessman. According to eyewitnesses and surveillance footage, Knight's truck struck Carter, causing fatal injuries. Knight's lawyers claimed that he was acting in self-defense, as he was being attacked by Carter and another man, Bone Sloan. However, prosecutors argued that Knight intentionally drove his truck into Carter, and that the act was not justified as self-defense. In 2018, Knight pleaded no contest to voluntary manslaughter, admitting that he had committed the crime. As a result of his plea, Knight was sentenced to 28 years in prison. He was also required to serve 5 years of parole after his release. Knight's sentence was part of a plea deal that allowed him to avoid a longer sentence and the possibility of a murder conviction.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. There are many more stories waiting to be shared.